time is here. Time for me to share my mind. Let's talk about anything and everything. Let's have some fun. Let's try to break down some of the world's problems. Maybe even talk about some random weird things. Let's get into my mind. You have entered Pappy Hour. Hello, everybody, and welcome to COVID-19 quarantine episode of Pappy Hour. Yes, I am working from home a couple days out of the week, and we are kind of facing a weird thing right now, with this COVID-19 bit. We are, I guess you could say, self-distancing is what they're calling it, where we're trying to stay 6 feet away from each other. And, it's definitely a game changer for a lot of us. I'm the kind of guy that likes to shake hands with everybody. And so I'm finding it real hard not to just reach out, say, hey, how's it going? Shake somebody's hand, especially in my line of business. I'm in the security industry. And, we do that a lot. And, it's kind of a change. Hopefully you like the new intro for the show. I'm trying to make it a little bit more family friendly, not so much picking on political groups, kind of talk about a little bit of anything and everything, whatever, I kind of feel we should talk about, Today's episode, though, I am going to talk about COVID-19, coronavirus, just because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of fear out there. And, what's interesting is, I have been a prepper, I guess you'd say doomsday prepper, for better half of my life. And, I've had a lot of people make fun of me over the years saying, hi, this is ridiculous. Now it's kind of funny how a lot of those people are reaching out to me now saying, hey, what do I do? I'm in this situation now. I mean, you can't find toilet paper on the shelves right now. That's ridiculous that we have to go through our lives looking and searching for toilet paper. Now, I just need to make a note, okay, that not one time in The Walking Dead did they ever fight over toilet paper. Not once. Nope. But should we go to a zombie apocalypse or we all die, we're all going to have really clean butts. I can tell you that right now. But, it's interesting. I just went to the store today because I go little bits through the week just to get little things. I finally found pasta for the first time in probably a month now, I would say. I found pasta on the shelf. So I was able to get some spaghetti noodles. So that was exciting for me. I felt like, total victory on that one. So I've got some things to talk about today. Got my notes here. So I'm going to be reading through, I want to make sure that I try to give you some peace of mind on what's going on. Now, I'm not a medical doctor or a medical professional in any way. Never claimed to be. I'm just a realist. I actually look into it. I research things. I try to find answers to why things are going on. And in my profession, it's always who, what, when, where, why, how. And I've implemented that pretty much through my daily life. And so I want to make sure that I'm able to possibly impart some wisdom onto you. Now, a lot of people are having a hard time with the grocery stores, and grocery stores are a scary place right now. I am very thankful, though, for all of those essential businesses that are operating as fast as they can and as best as they can. Now, Arizona, where I live now, is under a stay-at-home order, which means if you're not essential or you are not needing essential services, you need to stay at home. Pretty simple. Now, in Arizona, we pretty much do that in the summertime anyway. It's starting to warm up, because it's so hot here that come summertime, we stay inside. We don't really go out as much as we have, unless we absolutely have to. So, going to the grocery store is considered essential. I want to thank all the first responders out there. They are going into nightmares every call that they go to. My brother-in-law, Leonard, I want to thank you, man. You are absolute awesome, and then I've got nurses. Leonard is an ER doctor. So, he's at the forefront of this, and, he's really put himself on the line there. So I want to give a big shout out to Leonard. And, any first responder, you've got security companies, believe it or not, I'm in the security industry. We're protecting a lot of businesses that are being shut down. People are being sent home, and there's a fear of looting, fear of theft, and one of the big things is, especially if you're a thief, you're going to think, hey, this building usually is pretty busy. Maybe they've got vending machines, they've got janitors' closets, they've got computers, they've got stuff there that I can steal that's worth value and turn and trade. So I'm getting a lot of calls from people saying, hey, we're in that boat. Can you help us out? So literally just got off the phone a few minutes ago with a potential client, kind of going over some stuff with them. And, it's getting a little scary out there. And, it's not the COVID-19 that scares me. It is the people. It's the panic. And, I've kind of over the years made little bits of stockpiles. So, I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of. Now, the scary thing for me right now is I've got my two littles not far from me. And then I've got Matthew, it's Bus and Jeeber. He lives down in Tucson. And then I have Regina, his sister, both in their 20s. They live down in Tucson. And so they're far from me. So that gives me a little bit of a panic, knowing that I can't help them right away if it does, get worse than it is. It's definitely going to get worse before it gets better. And that's just because when it comes to pandemics, that's pretty much how they run. Every 100 years we've had one. I think the last big one was the Spanish flu, maybe, or something like that. I've got some notes in here and stuff like that. So we're going to see what we can cover. But it's definitely an ordeal. Alrighty, let's see here. So COVID-19, there's some facts. Now, this is coming from CDC, who I kind of am iffy about. By the way, people are letting the dogs out. That would be who? Okay, that was a stupid dad joke. Okay, so COVID-19 facts, okay? Now, they say that this is probably going to be the most deadly virus out there, but when you look at the numbers, it's not. Okay. Yes, we have, let's see here, today in the U.S., we have 177,320 cases. We've had 5,995 people recovered. Now, everybody's like, oh my God, we just recently jumped so much. Well, yes, we jumped so much because testing is now more readily available. So when you're able to actually start testing, though, of course, those numbers are going to go up. I mean, that's absolute. I mean, you can't help it. There has been 3,447 deaths. Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, it's strictly people that have underlying health conditions that have died. And then you hear there are people that are dying that don't have underlying health conditions. Well, the problem I see is maybe they did have something that they didn't know about, or they felt that it was just a common flu, which they say a lot of times that's what the symptoms are. Or you feel like you've got a sinus headaches. Some people don't even know that they have it, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits them. And by then it might be too late. So, if you're starting to feel like, you've got the symptoms of this thing, which they say is headaches, flu, achy feeling, a lot of sputum, mucus and stuff like that, respiratory, breathing problems, fever, all that, go get checked out. It's better to be checked out to find out you don't have it than it is to find out you had it and you should have been checked out, because the sooner they can help start treating you, the better. Now, again, there's no vaccine for this yet. There's stuff that's in the works. There's no fail safe when it comes to this. But again, we could do our part. Social distance, okay, 6 feet away. I pretty much have been practicing social distancing my whole life. I'm not the one to really go out unless I'm out hiking or, spending time with the family. But I definitely might take advantage of some of this time because the hiking trails are going to be dead, and maybe do some filming of Adventures with Pappy. Gets a couple of other episodes out there. So that might be fun, which we're actually to change the subject a bit, we are working on a few new locations for filming. Okay, so back to COVID. So when you look at the numbers of all of the different types of diseases and pandemics that we've had over the many, many years, okay, COVID-19, yes, we've had 3,447 deaths, but then you need to look at how many people are recovering every day. Now, we're definitely not the worst, okay? Italy is the worst with 12,428 deaths. Then you got Spain with 8,269 deaths, okay? But worldwide, there has been 823,479 cases. That's as of March 31st, 12:22 p.m. Arizona time. Okay, and that's, those numbers are updated quite often, as much as the CDC gets updates. Okay, we've had 162,937 people recover from this. So the numbers, deaths versus recoveries, this only has a 3.2% fatality rate. 3.2%. Okay, that's coming from the CDC, the United Nations, WHO, the Lancet, Johns Hopkins University, I think it says Nevada Journal of Medicine. I mean, there's a lot of people and medical professionals that collaborate on this information. Now, you've got the bird flu, the H7N9 flu. Okay, we had in 2013. There were 616 deaths. Now, you're thinking, wow, that's not a whole lot. Why is that in there? Well, that actually had a 39.30% mortality rate. But yet, we didn't panic on that one. Then we had MERS. Okay. MERS, this is as of November 2019. 2012 is when it was identified. Okay. There have been 2,494 cases. 858 deaths. Okay. That was 34.40%. Okay. Now, right now, let's also talk about the number of countries. COVID-19 has affected 23 countries. The bird flu only affected 3 countries. MERS infected 28 countries. So then again, you have a 34.40% fatality rate. Okay. That, again, against your 3.2 with COVID-19. Now, I'm not saying if you get COVID-19, you're going to be, you're okay. I mean, there's always that chance. I mean, and, I would just say that if I get it, I do plan, and I promise you every day to try to blog it so that you can know what I'm dealing with. But I pray I don't get it. I pray anybody I know doesn't get it. And I do pray that this does end soon. Well, let's see here, H1N1. Okay, and this one, we're actually starting to see China's already had quite a few cases pop up of H1N1. This was identified in 2009. Now, remember, this is when it's identified. Okay, now, COVID-19 was only identified just before the end of the year. Now, who's to say it wasn't around longer, but we've now identified it because it's mutated differently. I have one of my fellow coworkers had a severe upper respiratory infection, had fevers, all that stuff, was out for 2 weeks. And I think that was in November, maybe early December. And she was out for 2 weeks. Had the hardest time breathing, all that. Came back, still got a bit of a residual cough as she has every now and then. They say that is one of the symptoms of COVID-19. Maybe she had it before and they're just now recognizing it now because they've been able to test it better. So it's kind of interesting. SARS, that was identified in 2002. Oh, wait, H1N1, let's go back to that. Identified in 2009, right? 1,632,258 cases. 284,500 deaths with a 17.40% fatality rate, and it was found in 214 countries. Now, I do remember the H1N1. I did get it. I do remember that. My ex-wife and I got it, and we were both down severely ill for a while. I think we were out for about a week. It was really bad. But I can tell you, I did not see any panic on the streets. I didn't see panic buying in the stores. I didn't see, people freaking out. Everybody was still shaking hands, business as usual. That one, would scare me more than the COVID-19, honestly. And that had a 17.40% fatality rate. So, I mean, that's something there. And let's see here. We had the H5N1 bird flu that was found in 97. So we've had two different cases of bird flu, H7N9 and then H5N1. So the one that was found in 97, we had 861 cases. Then we have 455 deaths with a 52.80% fatality rate in 18 countries. Then we had Nipah, Nipah. I'm going to say Nipah. I've never even heard of this, which is really weird. And then again, I was 24 at the time, so I really didn't think nothing of it. This was 1998 when it was found. There were 513 cases, 398 deaths. That had a 77.60% fatality rate, but I don't even remember that. And let's see, we had Hendra, which was in 94. It was in one country. I'm not exactly sure what Hendra is, but there were 7 cases, 4 deaths, 57%. Then we have the Ebola. Okay, Ebola was a big one. Okay, it was first identified in 1976. Okay, and over the years through November 2019, there were 33,577 cases, 13,562 deaths. That has a fatality rate of 40.40%. Then we have Marburg, which was found in 1967. 466 cases, 373 deaths with an 80% fatality rate in 11 countries. So when you look at COVID-19, yes, COVID-19 is scary. It is scary, but it is not as big as some of these other ones. Why didn't we panic then? I blame social media. I blame the media outlets, which we'll get to talk about in a little bit. They are the ones that I look at as to spreading the fear and the panic, and then not necessarily spreading the correct information. Now, you look at some of the hardest hit cities in the U.S. New York, they've got, 66,497 cases as of today. New Jersey, 16,636 cases. California, 7,426 cases. And Michigan was 6,498 cases. But then again, we've only had 3,447 deaths in the U.S. Worldwide, there's been 162,937 people that have recovered from this. So I think we're going to be okay. I really do. I don't see this being the end of the world. I consider this my 10th apocalypse that I'm going to survive. I've been through Y2K. I've been through these H1N1, MERS, Ebola, SARS, the Mayan calendar, I don't know how many times. I mean, we are going to be okay. And you know what? I'm really surprised and I'm really proud of how America is coming together. We're running short on PPEs, personal protection equipment for medical facilities. And, we're running low on respirators and masks. And then you hear about businesses like Ford. They're stopping production of cars and retrofitting their equipment and machinery to make ventilators for hospitals. You hear about, Rawlings, the sporting goods company that makes baseball jerseys. They are making masks for healthcare employees with their stuff. To hear that businesses are willing to change to help out is amazing. And then, unfortunately, there are a lot of businesses that are suffering. Restaurants in Arizona and a lot of other states are only allowed to do takeout or delivery, no dine-in right now, which it all comes with the social distancing. I guess that's okay. I can't tell you, I've never craved going out to eat as much as I do now because it's not supposed to happen. But, I've been doing good about eating at home, making sure the babies are fed. And my wife, Lorena, she's a good cook and she makes sure that I'm fed. And we try to keep normalcy. And, I'm finding that to be the thing, when I have my daughters on the days that they're here, it's about finding that normalcy. And it makes me wonder the things that my parents went through when, I was younger, and I had no idea what was going on in the world or the struggles that were going on, but yet they made my life as normal as possible. And growing up as a kid, I couldn't tell you of any public scares that I could think of because they sheltered me from all that. But at the same time, I don't want to necessarily shelter my two littles too much. I want them to know that there are things that are unsafe, but it's hard to explain. But it's interesting. Then I've been reading about people that are self-medicating and trying to find ways to keep themselves from getting sick. And one of the things I've been reading about, I just read about these people, they're drinking bleach so that thinking they can kill the coronavirus or any risk of coronavirus. And I thought Tide Pods was as stupid as people could get, but drinking bleach, I don't even know how to answer that one. Then you hear, I don't even know if I'm going to say this right, chloroquine phosphate. It's an anti-malarial drug. And, Trump had to mention something about it during one of his press conferences. Some people have taken it. Some people have died. Then you hear about people drinking fish tank chemicals because it helps with bacterial and stuff like that. Stop. Okay. Unless it's prescribed by a doctor or over-the-counter normal medicine, please, let's just not be so stupid. Because that is how humanity is going to end. Is stupidness like drinking bleach, and I pray to God there's no parents out there that give their kids this stuff to think that it's going to help them. I mean, it just shocks the hell out of me. It really does. Then we've got social media. Now, social media now, when you look back at some of those numbers, we look back at some of the numbers when MERS was found in 2012, social media wasn't as big as it was. Obviously, no social media was available back when Ebola was found in 1976. Social media has taken a platform like no other, and people actually use that to get their daily news. And you can't read Facebook, you can't read Instagram, Snapchat, all that junk, and get your daily news. Okay, you need to actually take some time, research, figure out what's going on. Now, I'm not saying CNN, Fox News, ABC, all of them are accurate. I read multiple different levels of it so I can, get information from and then, kind of look into it. I read the CDC guidelines and information on that because they're the front line. They're the ones that are actually building the, I guess you say, ammunition to battle this thing. And so I'll read them. I don't necessarily listen to Governor Ducey, of Arizona, his ideas or Trump's ideas, because that's their thoughts, their opinions, or what they're gathering from multiple number of people. So, I may listen to it, but I try to research as best as I can because I'm not going to let social media be the death of me. And I think that's why we have our panic buying, people going out buying up all this stuff. And, there was one day about 2 weeks ago, I was in a grocery store and I actually had pasta in my hands. And I was going to get it. I saw this little old lady and it just tore me up. As you could tell, she was having a hard time. So I gave her the $20 I had, gave her the pasta, and I helped her put a thing of water in her car. It's just, there's people that can't go out and panic buy. There's people that can't go out and buy, hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. Now, it's interesting is, you get stores like Costco. I applaud those guys so much because people were panic buying toilet paper, water, rice, cleaners, paper towels. Costco has said, we will not accept those as returns. And Costco's been one of those that is always taking returns on everything without fail. I literally watched some lady bring in a dog bed that was torn to shreds by her dog. They replaced it, no questions asked. But they're not going to do toilet paper, rice, cleaners, paper towels, and from what I gather, there's going to be bulk canned foods too. So, I applaud them, and a lot of grocery stores are doing that as well, where they're saying, look, you panic bought this stuff. you own it. We're not giving you money back. You know, it made it harder for other people to be able to go out and buy. And, you know, I applaud those businesses for putting that into place. I mean, I've never been one to buy excessive amounts of stuff, but what scares me now is seeing how bare a lot of the store shelves are. Makes you wonder how long, once this is finally slowed down and curbed a bit, this COVID-19 thing, once it's done that, you know, how long is it going to take to rebuild those shelves or restock those shelves? How long is it going to take for that to be back to normal levels? So that's what has me going out every few days just to see what the grocery has and buying little bits of, you know, a couple cans of food. You know, if I see some ground beef, which I've literally watched people almost jump the meat guy at the Fry's grocery store just so they could get to the meat. I mean, it was ridiculous, you know. And then, of course, I'm going around. I'm armed everywhere I go now because the panic on the streets. It's not the COVID-19 that scares me. It's the panic on the streets. And, you know, it's just... I know we're going to get through this, and I know that there's people that are having a harder time with it than others. But just know there are resources out there. There's people that will listen. And, of course, you've got 21 other episodes of Pappy Hour you can listen to just to, you know, burn the time. You know, I could be that voice that you just chat with during your quarantine. Alrighty, let's kind of change the pace a little bit here. You know, we're talking about all this sad, crappy stuff, and I think now maybe we could talk about some interesting stuff with it. So, I like movies. So let's talk about some pandemic movies, apocalyptical movies. How about that? You know, there's actually a really good one, and you get this on YouTube. It's called Life After Armageddon. And it's through the History Channel, which I'm actually surprised the History Channel has not played it again. But you might want to check it out. Matter of fact, early this morning while I was doing some research, I had it playing in the background just so that I can listen to it. And it kind of follows a family, a husband, wife, and their son. They live in L.A. A flu pandemic has gone through and wiped out a huge population of people. And it shows how the infrastructure just breaks down one by one by one. And they basically have to flee LA, deal with the elements, the gangs, and start a new life someplace else where they're able to live with nature, meaning have running water through streams and grow their own stuff. Check it out. I highly recommend it. It's called Life After Armageddon. There is the full episode on YouTube. You might be able to find it under historychannel.com. I'm not sure. Another movie that I thought was really interesting that my wife Lorena made me watch a couple weeks ago was called Contagion. And that one's actually interesting because it starts in China with a bat. Goes and shows how quickly things spread and how bad the pandemic gets through the U.S., all over the world, you know, and all that. So that's an interesting one you might want to check out. Another one that I like is called I Am Legend. Will Smith. That one's actually really interesting. That's more so they're finding the cure for cancer and then it mutates and goes wrong. Do I see that happening? Yeah, it could. I mean, maybe we're going to have the cure for COVID-19. And next thing you know, it's going to mutate and cause more problems and all that stuff. So, that would be a good one to check out. Now, if you do watch I Am Legend with Will Smith, make sure you see the alternate ending. Okay, the alternate ending actually was really, really cool. I really liked it. I saw that as a great way to continue the story, which it should have been. So check that out. Let's see here. A couple other apocalyptical or pandemic movies. There's also some TV series. You got Doomsday Preppers. Some interesting stuff. You give you some ideas. That was a good one. Man, I didn't write all these down. I meant to write them down, but now I'm struggling to remember them all. Wow. Talk about being on the spot. Let's see here. Apocalyptical movies. The TV show The Strain. That was a good one. And that just shows how, well, they became vampires, I believe, but it was all medical and could be fixed medically and scientifically. So you might want to check that one out. That one was actually a really interesting one. There's quite a few out there, but you're home, might as well check stuff out. I hear though that on Netflix, I heard this on the radio this morning. They were talking about some of these. That's what gave me the idea of talking about apocalyptical movies. Is somewhere on Netflix, and I don't know the name of it. And so if there's anybody knows, please go to It's Pappy Hour on Facebook, right under this episode's information. Please do me a favor and put the name of it. But basically, it is a couple years ago. It started in Wuhan, China. It was a flu-type epidemic that went throughout the world, wiping out population. Basically, it foreshadowed everything we're seeing right now. So I don't know. I mean, if you have the chance, and you know what that one is, please let me know so that I can check that movie out. Then a lot of people like to turn to music when they're self-quarantining or all that. So I got to thinking, what would be some of the most interesting quarantine playlist songs that I could think of? And I'm not necessarily saying these are my favorite songs. I'm just saying, like title wise, I had to check it out. And I thought, it's kind of fitting. All right. So, and they're in no particular order. But we've got, let's see here. Don't Stand So Close to Me, The Police. That was a good one. We got Too Much Time on My Hands, Styx. Dancing with Myself, Billy Idol. Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Georgia Satellites. You Can't Touch This, MC Hammer. I know everybody kind of move their feet when they think about that, like MC Hammer does. Then we got Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now. We got All By Myself, Eric Carmen. Don't Come Around Here No More, Tom Petty. I Ran So Far Away, Flock of Seagulls. Alone by Heart. I'm So Lonely I Can Cry, Hank Williams. And Staying Alive from the Bee Gees. So now, it's interesting, kind of like joking wise about this. So, Tom Hanks was recently diagnosed with COVID-19, and his wife, Rita Wilson, she was also found positive for that. And they were in Australia at the time on an island. Okay. Now look at this with Tom Hanks. Years ago, he was stranded on an island with Wilson. If you're catching it now, Wilson was the beach ball with the handprint. Now he was stranded on an island with Wilson again. I know, stupid dad joke. But then you've learned, don't ever travel with Tom Hanks. Okay. You go up to space with him, you're going to get stuck. If you go on a boat ride with him, you're going to get hijacked by pirates. If you go in a plane, you're going to crash, end up on a deserted island. You go to war, with him, you're going to end up fighting a big group of, enemies by yourself. I mean, and then you go on vacation with him, you're going to end up in Australia, quarantined with him. So, poor guy, don't travel. No, don't travel with Tom Hanks. All right, so I want to thank everybody for listening to episode 22. Hopefully I shed some light under this. I definitely want to thank, again, all the essential employees out there. And, I'm not saying if you're not working, you're not essential, but there are some people that are fighting this in the front line, and I want to thank them for that. Thank you to medical personnel, law enforcement, security guards, grocery employees, many, many more. I mean, there's just so much going on in this world right now that everybody needs a little bit of help. And hopefully, we can all get through this together and take care of each other, take care of our families, and get the economy booming and bustling back to the way it was before all this craziness happened. So until then, when my next idea comes to head, Take care of each other, and stay safe. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Pappy Hour. Please check out and download my apps on the Google Play Store and on iTunes. That way you can take me wherever you want and listen to me anytime you want, even if you're listening on the toilet. I don't care, as long as you're listening. Also, check out and like our Facebook page, It's Pappy Hour. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ryan is Pappy. Not only can you listen to my shows there, you can also get some fun, crazy videos that you can watch. You can also watch my new TV series, Adventures with Pappy, found on YouTube and Amazon Prime. Make sure you subscribe so that you get to see the newest videos when they are available for viewing. Thanks again, and I'll be back with more Pappy Hour.